You are told from childhood that to succeed, you must chase, fight, and struggle. Yet the harder you clutch at life, the faster it slips through your fingers. Imagine water. Hold it in a clenched fist and it drains away. Open your palm and it rests easily. This is the shocking paradox at the heart of the backwards law. What you pursue runs away. What you allow comes toward you. You stand now at the threshold of this wisdom. It is not a trick of words or an empty slogan, but a reorientation of how reality itself moves. You have been taught that desire must be pursued. But the truth whispered through every ancient tradition, echoed in quantum science, and confirmed by countless human stories, is that surrender reveals more power than striving. No struggle, only surrender. No force, only flow. Pause here with me. Take a moment to notice where in your life you've been forcing outcomes. Love that you keep auditioning for, recognition you beg for, security you try to nail down with endless effort. Feel the tension in your chest when life doesn't comply with your script. That tightness is resistance itself. And resistance creates distance. This is not philosophy floating above real life. It is visible in human stories. Henry, a painter, chased recognition for 15 years. His canvases knocked on gallery doors, his letters filled with desperation. Recognition never came. But when exhaustion finally cracked his armor, he whispered into an empty studio, "I paint because I must, not because I seek approval." In that surrender, doors opened. A chance encounter at a cafe brought his work into the light. The very acclaim he had hunted now hunted him. Margaret, desperate for love, interviewed every date, weighed every word, pushed every interaction to prove its worth. Love kept fleeing. Only when she released her grip and found peace in solitude did suitors suddenly appear. The same law repeated itself. What you chase flees. What you allow flows toward you. James illustrates the paradox of wealth. 16-hour days, endless seminars, every scheme he could grasp, yet success evaded him. When collapse finally forced him into stillness, abundance came from an unexpected partnership, one that appeared without his engineering. He stopped grasping at shadows and found himself standing in the river's current. The stories echo a simple, almost childlike image: chasing your shadow. The faster you run, the faster it escapes. But stand still, and the shadow rests quietly at your feet. The universe itself mirrors this rhythm. Rivers do not force their way to the sea. Flowers do not strain to bloom. They yield to their design and arrive without struggle. The principle is simple. Force is friction. Allowance is alignment. When you demand, the universe resists. When you relax into trust, you discover what was meant for you was already on its way, and you are not left without practice. Right now, wherever you are listening, close your eyes. Bring to mind one thing you have been chasing: a job, a person, approval, abundance. Feel the heat in your body when you grip it tightly. Now imagine opening your hands, literally unclenching your fists. Whisper softly, "I release my desperate need. I trust in divine timing. What is mine cannot miss me." Breathe deeply. Let the outcome float like a leaf down a stream. If you feel uneasy, that's natural. The ego survives on control. To release is to scare it. But beyond that fear lies relief. The backwards law is not weakness. It is alignment with the natural current of life. A current far stronger than your isolated will. And as we continue this journey, I invite you to interact. Comment below. Where are you watching from? And what time of day is it right now? Share your presence, because by acknowledging the present, you join the flow we are exploring. And if this wisdom resonates, subscribe to Audiobook Sanctuary and turn on notifications so you never miss the next exploration. Your voice, your reflection, matters here. The paradox has only just opened. We've seen how grasping blocks and surrender allows. But this is just the doorway. In the next movement, we will dismantle the illusion of control itself. Why our obsession with directing every outcome makes us prisoners rather than creators, and how stillness awakens a power that chasing never can. You may believe that control is safety, that detailed plans guarantee certainty, and that the tighter you grip life, the more secure you become. Yet reality rebels against this. Like a river forced into a rigid channel, pressure builds until the banks break. The illusion of control is not protection. It is a prison. David, a merchant, tried to dictate every aspect of his world. Every minute scheduled, every contingency mapped. Yet chaos only grew. The more he tried to hold happiness in a clenched fist, the more joy bled through the cracks. His life became a storm precisely because he refused to let the wind blow where it wished. Martha's story mirrors his. She built walls around her heart, drawing lists of perfect partners, monitoring every relationship with suspicion. And still, love stayed distant. The control she thought would keep her safe became the very barrier that kept intimacy out. Perhaps you feel this too. The anxiety that spikes when plans crumble. The knot in your stomach when traffic ruins your schedule or when someone doesn't behave as expected. Control seems like power, but it breeds only resistance. And resistance multiplies the very outcomes we fear. There is another way. Release. Stillness. Trust. Frederick, a businessman, chased solutions late into sleepless nights, drowning in spreadsheets. The harder he worked, the more elusive success became. Only when he stopped forcing answers did clarity arise. It was not laziness, but stillness, an active receptivity that allowed new strategies to surface, like flowers blooming in silence. Clara, a musician, drilled her practice relentlessly. Yet her breakthrough came not in endless hours of repetition, but in listening to the silence between notes. Stillness revealed the music that force had buried. Modern science mirrors this wisdom. Quantum physics shows particles shifting when observed. Possibilities collapse under pressure. In the same way, your constant interference collapses the infinite into the limited. When you release the compulsion to direct every outcome, the field of possibility opens again, and there is practice for this. Each day, carve 5 minutes for stillness. Sit without agenda. Let your breath find its rhythm. Do not try to empty your mind. Simply observe thoughts like clouds drifting across the sky. Hold your desires lightly, not as demands, but as seeds already planted in fertile soil. Trust that the soil knows when to bloom. Robert's life exposes the other half of the illusion. Surrounded by self-help affirmations and endless techniques, he obsessed over fixing himself. Every attempt to improve whispered the same lie: "You are broken." Yet his breakthrough came when he stopped adding and started subtracting. He dropped the labels: achiever, struggler, seeker. Beneath the rubble of identities, his authentic self stood whole, unbroken. Edna, a musician, stopped trying to mimic greatness and discovered her own pure voice once she abandoned perfection. The path is not about becoming more, but being less of what you are not. Release false identities. Shed masks. Stop feeding the endless machine of self-repair. When you lose yourself, you find everything. Now, imagine trying this. Close your eyes. Picture every label you've worn. Worker, struggler, dreamer, broken, not enough. Watch them dissolve like mist under sunlight. Do not rush to replace them. Sit in the raw awareness that remains. That is you, whole and untouchable. From this space, you can practice the art of observation. Like Charles in the laboratory, notice your thoughts without entanglement. Say not, "I am anxious," but "there is anxiety present." Beatrice, once crippled by storms of panic, found freedom when she became the witness rather than the prisoner. Thoughts are waves of possibility. The moment you identify with them, you drown. The moment you step back, you surf. To test this, the next time a negative thought arises, don't fight it. Watch it. Name it as separate. You'll feel a sliver of distance open between awareness and thought. In that distance lies freedom. And as you live this way, something shifts. Your presence itself becomes magnetic. Arthur, a weary salesman, discovered this when illness forced him to stop his enthusiastic pitch. Stripped of effort, he simply smiled. And that day, more customers stopped than ever before. Without pressure, they felt safe. Without persuasion, they felt drawn. Dorothy's search for love followed the same law. When she quit the desperate search, love found her. The principle repeats with precision. The more you push, the more life pushes back. The moment you stop pursuing is the moment what you desire begins pursuing you. This is the great unmasking. Control fails, stillness succeeds. Effort fractures, surrender heals. What you fear losing is already waiting on the other side of release. And as you breathe this in, let me ask, which part of your life do you grip most tightly? Share it in the comments. Name the space where control has failed you, because naming is the first release. And if this resonates, remember to subscribe and keep the current of this wisdom flowing. You are not walking this alone. Now we have seen how control collapses into chaos and stillness restores power. But there is another trap: craving itself. Wanting too much sends a signal of lack that repels what you seek. In our next journey, we will confront the desperate self, the craving identity, and learn how wanting nothing brings everything. Desire whispers to you, keep reaching, keep craving. The next achievement will complete you. The next love will save you. The next possession will prove your worth. Yet here is the paradox. Craving itself creates emptiness. The very energy of desperate wanting pushes what you seek further away. Herbert, a scholar, spent 15 years publishing paper after paper, hungry for recognition. Every day he checked indexes, chased conferences, sought applause, but recognition never arrived. Only when he gave up, tucking his papers in a drawer and teaching with joy alone, did invitations flood in. His colleagues who had once ignored him now pursued him. Recognition flowed, not because he fought harder, but because he released the need to be recognized. This is the pattern. Wanting too much repels. When you hunger with intensity, you broadcast lack. The universe mirrors that lack back to you. But when you release craving while holding intention, your state shifts from desperation to openness, and openness attracts. Think of Joseph, the athlete. He trained until exhaustion, analyzed every move, clenched every muscle with fear of failure. Victory remained out of reach, but when he released control, trusting the intelligence of his body, his performance transformed. Movements became fluid, natural, precise. He entered flow, where effort dissolved and mastery emerged. Victory did not come from more effort, but from less interference. And there is Leung, the merchant crossing a bridge burdened with treasure. Clutching tightly, he risked collapse. Only when he opened his hands, scattering possessions to the wind, did he cross safely. In letting go, he discovered he had lost nothing. His treasures appeared on the far shore, delivered by the very wind he feared. Can you feel the lesson pressing in? The first step to freedom is release. Your fear insists, if I let go, I will lose everything. But the truth is inverted. Only by letting go can you receive anything at all. Now, practice this. Tonight, sit in silence. Bring to mind your deepest desire. Feel its weight, the grasping, the tension. Imagine gathering it into a glowing sphere in your chest. With each breath, see it grow brighter. And then, release it. Watch it rise into the sky, returning to the infinite. Whisper, "What is meant for me cannot miss me." In that surrender, you become available for abundance. And notice this in smaller rituals. Each morning, pick one aspect of your day that you usually grip tightly. Perhaps the commute, a conversation, or even the weather. Release control. Let it unfold. Trust. This gentle training builds your capacity for surrender. Robert's story deepens the truth. Surrounded by affirmations and routines, he tried to improve endlessly. But every attempt to fix himself reinforced the lie that he was broken. The real transformation began when he stopped trying to be better. In losing the striving self, he found the authentic self that had always been whole. Edna lived this as well. She mimicked great musicians, forced herself into molds of perfection. But her breakthrough came when she stopped imitating and simply sang. Her own voice, raw, unconstructed, emerged. She did not become someone new. She released what she was not. This is the paradox. To find yourself, you must lose yourself. True growth is not addition, but subtraction. You are not incomplete. You are obscured. Like a sculptor revealing a statue by removing stone, life asks you to let go, not to add. So here is another practice. Close your eyes. List silently every label you cling to. Worker, parent, achiever, failure, victim. One by one, let them dissolve. Do not replace them. Rest in the awareness beneath all labels. That space is you, untouchable, whole, complete. From here, awareness becomes your power. Charles, the scientist, discovered this when observing quantum particles. His gaze changed reality itself. In the same way, your awareness transforms your life. When anxiety comes, do not say, "I am anxious." Say, "There is anxiety present." Create space. Beatrice, once consumed by panic, found freedom in this small shift. She became the witness, not the storm. Awareness is liberation. You are not your thoughts. You are the one who sees them. And in seeing, you change them. This section's heartbeat is clear. Craving is a trap, effort a barrier, control an illusion. Release is the doorway. Letting go of the desperate self is not passive resignation. It is active alignment with the current of life. Now pause and ask yourself, which desire has consumed you most? Say it aloud. Write it in the comments below. Naming it loosens its grip. And as you release, you will notice what once fled from you begins to approach. We have stepped through craving and identity, shedding the desperate self. Next, we turn toward faith and trust, why belief outweighs force, and how surrender, guided by Wu Wei, can transform wealth, love, and the work of your hands. Force is what you've been taught. Push harder, work longer, strive until you break. Yet reality seems to mock this approach. The more you fight, the more outcomes slip away. The paradox deepens here. Faith carries more weight than force. Alfred, a salesman, armed himself with scripts and statistics every day. His briefcase was heavy with strategies, his voice sharp with urgency. Yet deals dissolved like mist. Then he watched Thomas, a competitor, sit with clients in ease. Thomas listened, smiled, and trusted the conversation. And somehow, contracts blossomed around him without strain. His secret was not effort, but quiet certainty. Florence, battling illness, lived in the same trap. Endless treatments, desperate measures, all attempts to control her body into healing. But nothing worked. Until she shifted. Each morning, she rested her hands over her heart and trusted her body's intelligence. She stopped fighting and started believing. Within months, her doctors were stunned. The reversal of her condition came not through battle, but through surrender. Faith is not passivity. It is a vibration, a knowing. Neuroscience reveals that belief rewires neural pathways. Ancient texts declare that faith moves mountains. The principle is timeless. When you trust, you open. When you force, you close. Thomas, another seeker, filled his study with calendars and backup plans for backup plans. But life unraveled his careful designs with ironic precision. Only when he released his grip did he feel the current carrying him. Evelyn, searching for love, made exhaustive lists of perfect traits, but love never fit her script. The moment she stopped planning, she met someone who defied her checklist, yet fulfilled her heart. This is the invitation. Practice radical trust. Set aside one day with no plans. Move moment by moment. Let life surprise you. Notice the unease of uncertainty, then breathe into it. Watch how life continues, more gracefully than when you controlled it. Benjamin, drowning in spreadsheets, proves another truth. He tried to force clarity through overthinking, but his breakthrough came in silence. Stillness spoke louder than analysis. Marion, an artist, stared at blank canvases in agony. Yet when she abandoned effort and sat quietly, images flowed through her naturally. This is Wu Wei, the Taoist principle of effortless action. Edgar, a martial artist, struggled to perfect his movements. The more he tried, the more rigid he became. But when he stopped trying and let action arise naturally, his power flowed. Hattie, in business, forced every deal. Exhaustion drained her. Only when she shifted to acting without forcing did her business flourish. Clients were drawn to her ease, not her strain. Here is a simple practice. Choose 3 daily tasks. Making tea, walking, writing. Perform them without forcing. Let your body move without interference. Notice the grace that emerges when you stop controlling. That is Wu Wei in motion. Frank, obsessed with wealth, devoured seminars and books. His shelves overflowed with strategy, yet his bank account remained empty. His pursuit broadcasted lack. Only when he stopped chasing money and began embodying abundance did prosperity appear. He carried himself as though wealth already surrounded him, and soon it did. Rose, in love, mirrored this pattern. She scoured dating events, scanned rooms for potential matches. Love ran further away. When she stopped searching and simply lived in self-worth, love found her. This is the law. You do not chase abundance, you become it. When you embody it, life aligns to your frequency. Now, breathe. Ask yourself, where are you forcing outcomes? Where could trust replace strain? Share it in the comments. Your reflection may spark another's release. And if this speaks to you, subscribe and keep this flow alive. The lesson is sharp. Faith over force. Trust over control. Wu Wei over striving. Wealth, love, health. All respond not to desperation, but to alignment. But this journey does not end here. Beyond faith lies an even subtler art. The art of flow itself. Doing less yet achieving more. Embracing uncertainty and discovering the strength hidden in non-resistance. That is where we will turn next. You've been told that achievement demands more effort, more hustle, more hours squeezed out of your life. Yet the universe whispers a different rhythm. Less is often more. The art of living is not in piling effort, but in aligning with flow. Oscar, a corporate leader, ran himself into the ground with overflowing calendars and endless strategies. Exhaustion became his only reward. But when he cut away the noise, focusing only on the vital few actions, results bloomed effortlessly. The Pareto truth, 20% of effort yields 80% of outcomes, reveals itself not only in business but in the very fabric of reality. Beulah, struggling with complex health routines, healed only when she simplified. Letting go of unnecessary rituals, she allowed her body's intelligence to do its work. Harold clung to certainty. Spreadsheets, forecasts, plans for every outcome. But when his company announced sudden layoffs, his prison of predictability crumbled. In that uncertainty, creativity awoke. New paths opened, not because he planned them, but because he could not. Mabel, a merchant, lived in routine trade routes until a storm forced her elsewhere. In the unknown, she found exotic goods and new wealth. This is the paradox. Uncertainty is not a threat, but a gift. True power lies in openness. Quantum physics confirms that at its deepest level, reality exists in probabilities, not certainties. The universe flows through possibility, not rigid prediction. Leonard, standing by a rushing river in Scotland, resisted every current of life. Every obstacle became a fight. But the river taught him. Water bends around rocks, never resisting yet always reaching the sea. Agnes, resisting seasonal shifts in tourism, exhausted herself trying to maintain summer's prosperity. Only when she accepted winter as renewal did her inn flourish year-round. Practice this. For 3 days, observe where you resist. When tension rises, whisper, "Today I flow with life." Notice how your body softens when you release the fight. Acceptance is not weakness. It is strength aligned with universal wisdom. Clarence clutched charts and strategies, believing control ensured success. But success stayed distant until he abandoned the illusion entirely. When he surrendered, opportunities appeared with ease. Ma, exhausted from years of forcing, discovered watching the ocean. The waves created beauty not by fighting, but by flowing. She realized she had never been in control. She had always been carried. This is the final key. Surrender is not defeat, but alignment. When you release your grip, the current of life takes you precisely where you need to go. Howard, staring at his vision board, doubted constantly. Was he visualizing right? Was he doing enough? But seeds are not dug up every day to check their growth. They sprout when left in trust. When Howard settled into knowing, his reality shifted instantly. Ethel, reading signs everywhere, found manifestation only when she stopped needing proof. This is certainty. The subconscious responds not to hope, but to conviction. Faith is not waiting, it is knowing. Stanley, desperate for approval, chased validation in every interaction. But when he stopped seeking, he became magnetic. People approached him without reason. Mavis, hustling for connections, exhausted herself. Only when she embodied success did opportunities find her. Attraction is not in what you do, but in what you are. And there is Milton, frozen by fear of interfering with the universe. He visualized endlessly, but never acted. Yet surrender does not forbid action. The seed breaks its shell, roots, and grows. Sylvia learned this by opening her cafe, not with force, but with aligned action. Like the child building sandcastles in joy. The art is balance, surrender and act without attachment. This is Wu Wei in daily life. Clyde, journaling manifestations, checked for signs obsessively. His interference blocked the process. Only when he stopped digging up the seed did results bloom. Gertrude, an artist, tried to control her career by chasing opportunities. Success came only when she allowed her art to speak without forcing. And Wilbur, forever chasing happiness through trophies, never found it. Happiness arrived only when he noticed the sunlight in his modest home. Blanche discovered joy in tea, birdsong, and morning light. Happiness was not in achievement, but in presence. Norman rehearsed affirmations endlessly, always feeling unworthy. His shift came when he began living as if success was already his. Edith, a bookstore clerk, arranged her days as a writer long before she was published. When she embodied her future self, the world rearranged itself to match. This section's truth: less effort, more flow. Uncertainty is possibility. Non-resistance is strength. Faith shapes reality. Attraction flows from embodiment. Action aligned with surrender creates more than endless pushing ever could. And now, we approach the summit. The final revelations. To step beyond striving, beyond even surrender, and recognize that you are not just receiving reality, you are creating it. In the last section, we will uncover what it means to live as the source itself. At this stage of the journey, the paradox has unfolded layer by layer. Control dissolves into chaos. Craving blocks abundance. Surrender invites flow. But one revelation remains, the most radical of all. You are not merely a receiver of reality. You are its source. Raymond, an anxious planner, constructed defenses against every possible loss. His walls of control became his cage. But when life stripped his illusions, job gone, relationship broken, he discovered surrender. And in surrender, fear lost its grip. Doris walked this path too. After losing everything, she chose complete openness. No more resisting. In her fearless surrender, opportunities she had never imagined arrived. She found not only love and work, but peace that could not be shaken. The secret is this: fear dissolves when resistance ends. Surrender is not weakness, it is invincibility. Like water, which survives every shape because it adapts, you too become unbreakable when you yield. And then comes Gilbert, surrounded by books and teachings, searching for techniques to manifest. After decades of striving, he stopped. In silence, he saw it clearly. He had always been the creator. His desires were not signals sent to a distant universe. They were the universe expressing through him. Hazel discovered the same truth. When she quit seeking and rested in stillness, she saw that every circumstance had not happened to her, but through her. This is the final revelation. You are not attracting reality. You are creating it. You are the source. The backwards law is not a trick of manifestation. It is the recognition of your own nature. Pause with me now. Close your eyes. Feel your awareness, the witness behind every thought, every breath. That awareness is not separate from the power that creates worlds. Whisper, I am not seeking power. I am power itself. I am not attracting reality. I am creating reality. Do not say this as a wish, but as recognition. The conclusion ties every thread together. Effort was never the way. Struggle was never the key. Force was never your path. You are the wellspring itself. Manifestation is as natural as breathing, as inevitable as dawn. So let the opposites settle in you once more. Not doing, but being. Not seeking, but knowing. Not wanting, but having. Not forcing, but allowing. Now the choice is simple. Will you step fully into this truth? Will you recognize that the power you have chased was never outside of you? The universe awaits. Not your struggle, but your knowing. And as you breathe in this final lesson, I invite you to engage. Comment below. Which part of this journey shook you most deeply? Which story mirrored your own? Share your reflections, because your words may unlock someone else's surrender. Subscribe to Audiobook Sanctuary and keep walking with us as we explore wisdom that frees the soul. The backwards law is no longer just an idea, it is your inheritance. Let go of the weak version of yourself who chased, forced, and feared. Step into the source you have always been. The final step is always the hardest. To give up the illusion of control, the last armor of fear. But that is where true freedom lies. The backward law teaches that the moment you loosen your desperate grip, life rushes in to meet you. The very things you thought would vanish arrive with ease because you finally made space for them. Think of Doris again, standing with nothing left to lose. In surrender, she found peace that no effort had ever given her. Fear lost its grip because she stopped resisting it. This is the paradox. The safety you seek is found not in walls, but in openness. And then, the final revelation. You are not begging reality to change. You are not pleading with a distant universe. You are the wellspring itself. Gilbert realized this in silence. Hazel recognized it when she stopped all striving. Their desires were not requests. They were expressions of the source moving through them. You are that source. You always have been. The separation was illusion. The chase was a shadow play. The power you sought outside was the very awareness reading these words now. So let the closing rhythm seal into you. Not effort, but ease. Not chase, but allow. Not fragments, but wholeness. Not separation, but source. And with this, a door opens. Will you step through? Will you trust that creation is not something you manufacture, but something you recognize as flowing from your being? The universe waits, not for your fight, but for your surrender. The backwards law is no longer hidden. It is alive in you. Every breath you take is proof. You do not force the lungs to expand. They do so effortlessly, guided by wisdom deeper than thought. That same wisdom guides every unfolding of your life. Let this be your invitation. Release the weak version of yourself who chases endlessly. Step into the wholeness of the self who knows. The universe is not resisting you. It is you. And when you know this, life flows as naturally as water, as inevitable as sunrise. Now, carry this truth forward. Comment where in your life you are ready to surrender. Share your reflections with others here. Subscribe and stay connected, because this sanctuary is built for those ready to live from source, not struggle. The universe awaits your next command. But remember, the command is not shouted through effort. It is whispered through knowing.